Live.
Okay. I don't know if you have the chat open to see if anything. I guess there's no way to tell if anybody's hearing us yet or no. Oops. Looks like I have it open. Okay. I had the sound on. I had to silence it. There's nobody in there yet as far as I can see.
Okay.
So anyway, well, I wanted to make an announcement about your channel, but if there's nobody to listen, I should hold off on that.
Oh, thank you.
So tomorrow's my birthday, so I've been kind of treating myself to stuff, and I'm so fed up with this smartphone, this dumb smartphone I have. I can't stand it.
What phone have you got?
Huh?
What phone is it you've got?
Well, the phone I had was, they call it a jitterbug phone.
Right.
It's an Android from a company called Great Call that specializes in easy-to-use smartphones for older people. And the reason I got it was because their apps scroll in one column. Like I had a previous one and like all the little apps were all over the place and I had trouble like maneuvering my way around. This one, I could just scroll down a column and find what I need and push it. But now that I've gotten more used to that, I don't think it's really going to be an issue. But I had trouble because there was not much data and I ran out of storage and it was kind of slow and it just was a mess. And I've also been sort of admiring other people that have iPhones that have like really good sharp pictures on their phone when they take pictures of cards.
Right,
and people that are able to do videos outdoors and stuff, because there's some pretty gardens and things that I go to here and it would be nice to share those with people. And up till now, I've had no way to do that. So I thought, okay, I got an offer through the cable TV company, and because I have internet and cable from this one company, and they had a special offer for mobile phone as well, that you could either get 1 gig for $14.95 a month, or unlimited for $45 a month, and that includes all the taxes. And I wasn't sure if I would need unlimited or if 1 gig would be enough to do little videos and stuff. But I looked at it and I thought, $45 really isn't that bad. I know people are paying a lot more.
Yeah,
and so
there
was I paid $160 for my cable and internet, and I thought, oh man, it's going to be like $200 once I get the phone on there too. But I went to ask questions and check it out today because there was a Spectrum store where the company, the cable company, has a little shop not that far from me. So I went in and I talked to the guy and asked a lot of questions. And I said, oh, I know that this offer is contingent on me having an account with your cable internet company. And I said, I have been considering canceling my cable TV. I would still keep the internet, but I might cancel the TV part.
Yeah.
And would that interfere with the offer? And he goes, no, not at all. He goes, it's an internet offer, so as long as you have the internet, it's fine. But he goes, well, why were you thinking of canceling the cable? Was it price? And I said, yeah, it's getting to be too much. Because they start you off with this cheap offer, and every couple of years they keep boosting it up a little bit. So he looked at it and he goes, well, I think I can get the price down for you on your plan. I said, oh, really? So he checked it out and he dropped me from 160 down to 110. And so I thought, wow, 110, I'm going to go for the unlimited mobile phone, the $45 one. And I'm ended up cheaper than when I started. So it's like I'm getting a free phone. Now, I did have to pay for the hardware of the phone, itself, which you can do on an installment plan or all in one chunk, but I just decided to pay it off in one chunk. And I decided to go with an iPhone this time, and the cheapest iPhone they had was something called an SE, and it was $399. So, and with taxes and little fees that they had, initial fees, I think it was $499 altogether. But they said, we get my other phones, they charged me state and federal taxes on the phones, and there aren't any on this one beyond this one-time thing. Right. So I'm making a short story really long, I know. But I'm just kind of thrilled to have this new phone, and hopefully I can do all these great new things now that I couldn't before. Now I need to get like a little protector for it and like some kind of clip or something so I can do like overhead shots of cards and things, figure out how to get the stuff from the video onto YouTube. And the thing I'm having the most trouble with is, now that I got it home, is setting it up. And he was going to transfer stuff for me, but I couldn't remember my password from the old phone. And so he couldn't access it. So, but I might just, gather that info and go back and see what they can do. I transferred all the numbers, but I've been having trouble with some of the apps, and I'm not a tech person. It's really kind of a nightmare for me. We got anybody in the room yet, or have I scared everybody away? Oh, there's still nobody.
There are 5 people watching, apparently, though. I don't know if it's maybe the case that some people have got us open and Ellen Shane open, potentially. I know I sometimes do that. If there's a small overlap, I'll open up one. But I don't know. Sure, we'll have people chatting before long.
Well, it's a little late today, and they may watch it back later. But yeah, so I got that. I also I thought, oh, maybe the offer I think was good till late September, and I thought, well, maybe I'll wait for that next stimulus check to come from the government. I'm not holding my breath on that. I don't know when that's going to be. But if it does come, then I'll get the money back. But it's actually, as it turned out, I'm only out for the money for the iPhone. The service is, I ended up saving money. So that's all good. And once I can get all the apps and everything covered, I'll cancel my old phone account and save myself another $30. So.
Good.
So that's good. I also got I treated myself to a new lyre. I don't know if you know that I collect musical instruments, and so I got this. It's like, oops. You can't hear probably. I can't do this backwards.
So really, what's the scale? Like, it's a really unusual scale.
It's my own thing. I kind of invented it. At one time I bought a tempura. It's the drone instrument in India that they use behind sitars and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And I found actually it was a little harder to play than I thought it would be, because it's just 4 strings that you play over and over, and it drones. But it wasn't as peaceful and zen-like as I thought it was going to be. And when I tried to tune it, I busted a string straight away, and I thought, oh crap, I guess this wasn't meant for me. But then I don't know, I got something in my head about this sort of exotic tuning that sounded sort of mysterious or Middle Eastern or something. And so I started playing with that. And I don't know much about music. It's like a do re mi scale, but
scale, just one after the other.
You flat the vowels. So I call it loose vowels. So it's like it's like C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B, C, and so on up. Or you can transpose that to, I guess, whatever key, but that's the ratio between the notes. So you're a musician.
I play piano, so I'm
Okay,
trying
so
to work out what that is. So E flat, F, G, A flat, and then normal B. So that's almost a natural minor scale, except you've the B flattened as well in the natural minor scale of C. So that's almost C natural minor, except you're playing normal B instead of B flat. But it just sounds so different. So it does.
yeah.
Maybe it's just because of the type
Oh,
of
you
instrument.
mean instead of having just B flat instead of A flat and
So
B?
the natural minor scale of C is C, D, E flat,
Yeah.
F, G, A flat, B flat, and then back to C.
Oh, so it does have a B in there.
So the B
Yeah,
would
I
be
know.
flattened.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just kind of liked the sound of it, and I found that there were a lot of my own songs I was able to play on it, and I just kind of like to meditate on it and get lost in it. Anyway, I just call it the golden scale, and I've adopted it for all my harps and lyres and psalteries, and I play stuff on them. But it's only my own things. I don't play other people's songs. So, I mean, there are one or two I can do on this, but that scale obviously doesn't work for everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not really musically trained. I'm just sort of, a putterer, I guess. But yeah, I like it a lot.
Robin, we have our first comment. We've got the lovely Sophie Moon, whose birthday it is today. So massive happy birthday to you, Sophie. And
Oh,
you
it's
are
Sophie's
very, very
birthday.
welcome.
Sophie, it's my birthday tomorrow. So we're siblings under the sun or something.
It's Jonathan Daly's birthday today as well.
I'm like totally discombobulated here because I'm flipping back and forth between the screens. And when I see the YouTube screen, the voices are all out of sync, and it's like the Twilight Zone or something. So anyway, so I bought myself that new lyre. I bought a few new decks. I guess I've showed most of these online. I got this Tarot Classic in a sort of I bought it from Rose, Nancy Texas Rose. You know her, right? She was cleaning out her purgatory box, and I think Justin Michael originally showed this to me, and I was looking for it, but it was kind of pricey. And when she wanted to get rid of it, I thought I'll go ahead and get it.
Yeah.
It has two of my favorite cards in it, and it's not perfect, but I mean, I love these two cards, but it has a look to it like from the 70s, like it was colored with like colored felt tip markers or something, which is kind of strange for something as old looking as a Marseille deck to be done in this sort of modern style coloring. Yeah. And then I also got the you've probably seen a lot of walkthroughs of the Neo Rider Shadow deck.
Yeah, it's lovely. Really nice.
So that I got more as a novelty than anything, because I think it's like this sort of like benchmark in technology that cards are being reproduced this way. And I'm curious to see what the next step is going to be, what they're going to do next. I'm actually not that thrilled with the plastic stock. It's really flexible and really flimsy. I guess it's, it'll last really well, but they jump right out of your hands. The thing I like most, though, is they have this look kind of like silk or satin brocade, like material that traditional Japanese kimonos are made out of. But it also has an almost kind of metallic look to it too. It doesn't really feel plastic. It looks more like a cross between metal, aluminum, and satin brocade or something. But anyway, it's fun to have. I just don't know how much I'll use it. And then I got the Lonely Dreamer Tarot. You've seen that one?
I was watching Simon's walkthrough of that just earlier on before I had my dinner. Yeah, I'm really. Have you looked through it? So I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh yeah, I love it. I saw initial walkthroughs of it, and I thought, oh, I don't know. It's beautiful, but it looks really depressing. It's like, am I going to be depressed using it? You know. But I thought, I heard that it was a Kickstarter, and I think she only did 100 or 200 extra copies, and that they were going to go fast. So I thought, you know,
oh really?
FOMO. I don't want to miss out. And you know, if they're going that fast and it's that popular, if I decide I don't like it, I can sell it later. So I better just hit the buy button now and get it.
Is it already out? Is it already gone?
It's gone now, as far as I know. Yeah.
And in that case, show me the strength card, will you? I think this strength card is just amazing.
So yeah,
Jelly in the chat. Hi, Jelly.
Hey, Jelly. So the only thing I did was it had rounded corners, but very tight rounded corners, almost like squared off. And actually, while there were even still copies available after I'd gotten it, I thought, I'm going to risk it and round the corners to please me. And if I screw it up, there's still time to order a replacement. And I was so glad. I'm so glad I did it right away, because I would have been terrified to do it if you couldn't get it again and I messed it up. So, sorry, let me find the strength card. So, for people in the chat, they probably know already that there's a new channel in town. It's called Elemental Cartomancy. And everybody check it out and spread the word.
Thank you very much.
And how is that going, by the way?
Yeah, it's going well, I think. I've only got, I've got 3 normal videos up, and then I did my live on Thursday there. So 4 videos. I don't really have any basis for comparison, so looking at the stats, I don't really know what I should expect and whether what I've got is good or bad, or do you know what I mean? But to be honest, I'm not really doing it for all that. I'm doing it because it's something I'm passionate about. It's something that I enjoy, and yeah. Just it's nice to be able to interact with the community in this way. So yeah.
I thought you did really well, and I liked the split screen and everything. The only reservation I had, because I don't know, you use 2 cameras, I guess, or I don't know how you do that.
So I've got the camera on my phone, and I've got this camera that I'm using just now, my webcam. I know you told me about the camera angle. So I think what people tend to use when they do that is it's like a table clamp, and it's a proper overhead shot that they get.
Yeah.
I've got this tripod. So what I've done is I've heightened it a bit so that the camera will be higher up, facing down at the table. So I'm hoping that will give us a bit of a better angle, but I don't think it was absolutely abysmal. You could still pretty much see the cards, and for the purpose of doing readings and stuff, I was pretty happy with it. So no, I
think it worked. I mean, for me, I kind of wanted to see an actual walkthrough with, definition on those cards. So I got an idea, but I still feel like I'd like to see them a little closer and a little bit sharper.
So I know that the actual definition on the cards, and I know that bit wasn't so good, and that was why I'd said a couple of times, if anyone particularly wants to see the images on these cards, I'm happy to private message them or post them somewhere or something. Because I did know that was an issue, especially with the angle that I had, and because I was moving it with my hand, I felt as though the camera kept switching focus between my hand and the card, and that was another thing. So I was very conscious of that. So I still stand by that. If you want to see pictures, Robin, then I can send you. If there's particular cards you would like to see, then do let me know and I can
What
send you pictures.
I think it really worked for your intention of reading with different decks and stuff.
Yeah.
I just feel like I could see which the designated cards were, but I couldn't really pick up as much the details in those representations. So just personally, I would have preferred, and I've seen 2 other channels too that do that. They kind of angle the cards, and it's like, okay, it works for them and it's fine, but it just kind of leaves me wanting a little bit more because I'm spoiled now for all these other channels with these sharp overhead shots. And that was another reason that I got my new camera, because so many people like me just hold up the card to the camera, and when I see Simon's stuff, it's so much nicer when they can zoom in overhead and the lighting isn't good and the focus is good. So I kind of look for that now, but either way, whatever works.
Listen, we're lucky that I got the tripod. Before I was thinking about have you got one of those phone holders for your car?
No, I don't. I have to get some kind of clamp like that for my phone that I can use.
So I've been, see, for my piano lessons. So I've been doing my piano lessons over Zoom whilst we were in lockdown. And I've basically been attaching the sat nav, the phone. I use my phone as my sat nav in my car, so I've got a wee holder thing for it. I've basically attached that to a lamp, angled it. I had my phone sitting in it, and then angled it at the piano. And to be fair, it worked pretty well for the purpose of that. But I was trying to do it for to set it up that way for the for doing the cards, but it just wasn't working. So I thought, scrap this and bought a tripod. So yeah, Jelly said, I have the Lonely Dreamer. It's only meh for me. The font color is very much like the background. So for me, anyway, so does that challenge you, Jelly, with your eyesight? Or do you just not really like cards that do that?
I find the colors in this deck just amazing, and it's so much more than I thought it would be. I think it's my new favorite, which is saying a lot. Although I'm kind of defaulting to the card labels rather than the intuitive imagery. The images are gorgeous paintings and colors and moods, but I don't look at them and initially think of what the card is, or read it that way. So we'll see what happens with that. You wanted to see the strength card.
Strength, yeah.
I know. Let me know if you need. I also got a little. If you need more light than that, I actually got a a little ring light.
No, it's perfect. I just wanted to see it again. Just while you had it out, I thought it might as well hold it up. It's just, do you know what I really like about it? It's the pride colours. Do you know what I mean? If you look at the whole card, you've got the red as the kind of lion, and then you've got the colour of the rainbow through the person. And for me, strength is that it's it's letting that part of yourself that's inside that's dying to get out. It's like letting it free. It's almost like coming out. Do you know what I mean? And that can be coming out as LGBTQ. It could be coming out as a tarot reader. It could be anything, but it's it's like kind of embracing that that kind of part of yourself and letting it out. And that's why that card really, really kind of works for me. Just like the colours and the kind of the animal, the way it's kind of over and above, and they're not wrestling it, that type of thing.
I actually have a little bit of an issue with this card, and I kind of accused the creator of taking some liberties, and I don't know. On the Fool card, I thought she had taken liberties, and it turned out it wasn't. It was actually something that the original artist had done. But in this card, I mean, this guy painted in the late 1800s, early 1900s, And that cat looks to me like a very modern painting of a cat. So I would love to find the original painting of this to see whether that cat is depicted the same way in the image or whether that's something that she added on. Because this would be a very unusual, he was from France. So, I mean, this would be a very unusual thing for him to have access to a model like this to work from. I suppose they probably had zoos in France in the late 1800s. I don't know, but I don't know. It just looks like this looks sort of almost medieval to me, and this looks like contemporary lion kind of. So they kind of don't go together to me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And symbolically, it works really well. I just think that it's kind of aesthetically mismatched art-wise.
Yeah.
And then the, if I can find it, I'm actually tempted to substitute the Fool with, there's a card in the deck here called the Seeker, which I sort of think of the Fool as a seeker anyway. So, I mean, that it sort of works as a good substitution. That's a pretty card. I think this ring light is almost more bother than it's worth. The colors are almost nicer without it. They just need like a little bit more light than I got. But the Fool in this deck has this big ugly triangle, white triangle in the middle of it. It looks like somebody cut out a piece of paper or tape and slapped it on the middle of this painting. And I thought maybe Melissa had done that. And I didn't outright accuse her of it. I just thought it looked a little weird. And then I Googled Odilon Redon online and his images, and this painting came up, and it does have a triangle like this in it. So I sort of apologized in my walkthrough if I gave the impression that I was blaming it on her because she actually authentically used his image. That you probably can't see, but there's a kind of a big iris of an eye behind the triangle.
Yeah.
And this white triangle just kind of obscures everything. Also, the Fool himself is kind of hard to make out the figure. I don't know.
So do you know what the meaning of the triangle is?
Well, I think she refers to it as purity, but I don't know why a triangle. White, yes, purity, but why is a triangle purity? I don't know. So yeah, it doesn't really tell you that much. But I mean, there's so many other paintings of his that are beautiful online that aren't used in the deck that could, I think, has easily been used or substituted. And like I said, that Seeker card, I think, would have made a better Fool than the one she picked.
Well, who's the Seeker? Sorry, Robin. What's the Seeker? What is the Seeker?
Oh, they have several bonus cards that are not part of the deck. One is the Seeker. One is the Guardian Spirit, which is kind of spooky. It's this floating head over a ocean with a little boat or something. And then there's one. You never can find them quickly when you're looking, right?
You could always use the Seeker instead of the Fool if you're going to use the deck.
Yeah. Oh, here's another one, the Dreamer. Oops. Which is all gorgeous colors. It's just like sort of flowers and somebody sitting under a tree. So the Dreamer and the Seeker both work as the Fool for me. And then there's also a fourth card that is just an image art card that's also pretty. And because the Fool is, 0, or sometimes, do they ever not label or number the Fool card? I can't remember.
I think sometimes he's unnumbered, sometimes he's 22. I think it really just depends.
Yeah, so I mean, as an unnumbered art card, this is beautiful too, and that could also be substituted as the Fool. So at the moment, I've got them all in there and I'm using them all, but at some point I might, you know, want to leave them in the bottom of the box and replace the Fool with one of those other nicer cards.
Yeah.
Jilly likes the Strength card. Don't like the 8 next to the word Strength. Oh, and there's also 2 Eight of Wands in this deck. One of them is a spider, and the other one is this beautiful, glorious, colorful image. Just the paintings in this are just blow me away, and it has this very melancholy late summer autumn feel to it. So I think the timing of the release was perfect with the season coming on. You know, one coming to a close and then another one coming on. So I don't know. It just, is much better than I was prepared for because I thought, nah, I'm going to be depressed. I won't want to use it. It'll sadden me too much to deal with it. So, I probably won't like it. I'll probably end up passing it on. And it's turning into like a favorite deck.
That's pretty good.
I also had a friend, he's a bit going to flea markets and sending me stuff. He sent me this little thing. It's going to be reviewed and up tomorrow. It's old, I think. It's called the Kawaii Tarot. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And I don't know why it comes in 2 little pink boxes. But it sort of reminds me, I guess it's based on, it says, a 78 card deck of Magic and Cute. And it's very much like sort of Hello Kitty kind of, Japanese graphics of what's that, anime or whatever. So it's got these little pastel backs, very simplified, and the colors are they kind of remind me of the marshmallows in the Lucky Charms cereal boxes. But the wands are like little candies, lollipops and candy canes and stuff. And then let's see what else. Oh, the coins. It's actually kind of like my deck in a way. They're not really pictorial, but they reduce the symbols to a minimum along with pips, So I mean, even though this isn't a hand juggling 2 coins, you have that hand in there, so it could be tossing them up or I don't know. Oh, this I thought was curious. This is the 5 of Pentacles, and they're just in this tiny little string along the bottom. I don't know how to read that, except that when I think of the 5 of Pentacles, I think of people sort of like down and out or on the bottom of life, in their situation. So in that regard, this string of pentacles across the base of the card sort of works, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of cute and fun, even though it's really minimal. And then also, I got the first draft last time we showed my cards. I got the first draft copy of my deck, which we can have a look at if you want. But initially, I was thrilled with it. I even did a walkthrough, but then I looked at them in better light, and they're awful. They're pixelated, and I didn't really see the pixelization in this crummy low light here. So it's like when I put a headlamp on and looked at them or took them out in the light of day, you could really see the difference. But I ended up not putting the walkthrough online and spending the better part of the next week fixing all the cards. And Sarah of Waterchild Tarot helped me figure out how to rework them so that the resolution would be sharper. So I should have the improved version of it by this Friday. And it was good because I resized some of the characters were a little larger than others, and so I retweaked those. The only issue I had, and I rearranged some of the organization of pips. The only problem I had was the, well, I have it in a little metal box. The only problem I had was the Wands cards have little round leaves, and what I used as presets for the leaves were these little speech balloons, and for some reason the speech balloons didn't resize proportionally properly. So I had to can those as leaves and replace it with something else. And it was one of those spur of the moment impulse decisions. I ended up choosing triangles. I don't know why, triangles instead of little ovals I could have used. But it gives the wands a more angular, sharper look now, almost like they have thorns on them or something. I don't know. But anyway, you know, the colors look, you know, pretty, and you know, they look relatively good. I mean, you won't see the pixelization on this camera. It's not that noticeable, but the new one, you know, is going to be perfect. But yeah, so I'll do another walkthrough when the other one comes through, and maybe I'll do readings with it next time we have a live. I'll have a slew of them on my little rack so you can see the color. I like the colors actually work really nice together. It's a kind of a bright pop of colors. So that part worked out. It's just the sharpness of the images wasn't there, and it's just as well that I worked on them and improved on them. I didn't want to have people order them. I talked to a couple people that saw them and said, they're fine, nobody's going to know the difference. I said, you know, a lot of these tarot collectors are very specific about, you know, flaws and things. And I really don't want to risk having people order them and make playing cards and then getting them and returning them for refunds or having issues with them, you know. So I figured, you know, might as well get it right. So, what all's going on with you? What's new with you? Oh, wait, Jilly says, can we buy them yet? They're in the shop now, but if I were you, Jilly, I would wait until the weekend, if you don't mind, because then I'll have a copy physically in hand just to make sure that they look okay. Because I wouldn't want you to get a copy and then they still weren't right, you know. I mean, it would have been prudent of me not to put them in the shop until I had them in hand. But I thought, you know, my first deck hasn't really sold any, so I don't think people are going to be clamoring to get hold of these. Hey, Naomi.
Hi, Naomi. Hi, Jackie.
Oh, I missed Jackie. She came in?
She's just popped up there.
Oh.
Hi, Robin and Chris.
Oh, there she goes. Okay. So, fill me in. What's going on with you?
I got a haircut. I'm off work this coming week because it's my brother's wedding, so I'm going over to Northern Ireland for that. We go over on Wednesday and come back on Friday.
Wait, where is that?
Northern Ireland.
Oh, I thought you said another island.
Northern Ireland.
Well, it is another island, isn't it? I guess, right?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. So yeah, there's that. I started my channel, which we've talked about.
I got a little haircut too. I took most of my beard off, you can tell. It was a mistake because I don't have a chin. The beard gives me a chin. But taking the hair off also removes a few years. You know, I think I look a little younger. But so when is your next video on your channel going to be, and what is it going to be, you think?
Good question, actually. I'm not 100% sure. I've got some stuff planned coming up not necessarily from my channel, but with just like kind of with other people. I'm not too sure whether actually to say too much, but yeah, so I've got some stuff planned. In terms of my channel, I might do a hashtag or two. On Ellen Shane's live there, they were doing it was a tag, and it was just like kind of like different decks. So like kind of what was your first deck? What's the latest deck you've acquired? What decks intimidate you, etc., etc. And I think there must be. I had to duck out early, but I'm imagining there must be around about 20 questions. So you're just answering each question. It just went quiet all of a sudden. Did you have like?
Oh yeah, sorry, I turned my air conditioner off. Sorry.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, you're fine. I was just wondering.
I thought it was too noisy. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I might do that. I'd said to Justin, Justin Michael.
Yeah.
Me and him chat a fair bit, so I've asked him if he wants to. I thought it might be quite a good idea. In fact, I'm acting as if this is my original idea. Shane and Elle have just bloody done it. Like doing a live, and doing like a tag over a live so that you can interact with people. And we've done that. In fact, we did that. Me and you did that on Lucian, on Cross Paths.
Yeah.
So we did. So, yeah.
I kind of did that too with Simon and Sandra on my channelversary. It was a questionnaire, and we took turns answering it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did get the questions beforehand, so they could kind of think about it a little, which I actually prefer, as to instead of being on the spot. You can't always remember what you want to come up with, right on the spur of the moment.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm planning on doing, Robin? I'm planning on doing the Major's Favourites, which is a tag that you started, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm planning on doing that. So look out for that.
Okay.
So I just need to decide what my Major's Favourites are.
I like to do the VRs to tag. So if you come up with something, and I'll have to check out their 20 questions and give it a shot. So, there's Elle.
Hi, Elle. Don't you worry.
Hey, Elle. We're just talking about what you just did, and I'm hoping that you'll list or post the 20 questions in the comments of your video.
I don't know if it was 20. I'm just saying I think it must have been about 20. So, but yeah, Elle, we're quite keen to do the tag. A few of us are quite keen to do it. So, yeah, definitely post them in the Wolf Meat Switch Facebook group. That would be fun. That'd be dozy.
I forgot to show you another birthday present I treated myself to. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this in the UK or not. Have you seen? It's this big book on tarot by Tashin.
Yeah. Someone messaged me this recently. It wasn't you, was it? Someone was sending me pictures of this very book.
Might have been me. I don't know if I sent any pictures or not. Oh my God! Talk about deck sniffers. This smells. Oh my God! This smells amazing.
I just looked up, guys, and Robin's got his nose in a book.
I'm not a tarot book person, and if you're a deck collector, you might not even need this book, because they're like single images from, I don't know, 300, 500 different decks or something. And you've probably seen them all, or most of them all already. And unfortunately, this is where a new camera would come in handy, because I can't really show these pictures very well online. But the nice thing about this book is it has a lot of images of cards that I already have or have seen, but they're closer, they're more amplified and larger, and you can see a lot more detail than in the actual cards. Like, and they're matte pages too. Like, this is from the Mystic Mondays deck, I think, which I have. And that's a very glossy deck, and this is a whole different animal blown up this large and on a matte printing stock.
Sophie's sticking up for you. Sophie says he can smell books if he wants to, Chris. It's going to be his birthday tomorrow. Fair enough, fair enough. We'll let him off with it since but only because it's his birthday tomorrow. And Sophie, on that note, you can go and smell as many books as you want, lovely, because it's your birthday today. Happy birthday to Sophie. I'm going to say it again now that there's more people in the chat.
This, I don't know. This doesn't really say if it's a, oh, it's a treatise on a tarot. I guess it wasn't an actual deck, but it looks fantastic. Oops. It's very pop. I love it. I love the colors.
It's nice. I want to get a book on symbols. I've been looking at different books on symbols. I just think it would be good to have like, what?
Oh, that is from Taschen. They have a big book on symbols too, and I was tempted to get that as well.
Well, I've not decided on a particular one. I was in Waterstones, which is like a bookshop that you've got in the UK. I don't know if you used to. And I was just looking, and I was actually in the kind of tarot section, the mind, body, spirit section, but they had like some books on symbols. Yeah, I just thought that'd be pretty cool because like, I don't know, I'm quite bad for just kind of glossing over symbols and reading the pictures. Whereas I think it'd be good to kind of go back over a deck that I know, and look at what all the symbolism means.
Yeah.
So
well, I've been using that book that Simon uses, refers to in Jen's Tarot Play Date by.
Is that specific to RWS? Is that specific to that?
Oh, yeah. That's not what you meant?
No, I'm talking about, so you get books that are basically like just like a big book of symbols. It's not a big symbol encyclopedia, dictionary, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, they do look pretty good.
Actually, I have a couple things like that, but they're probably out of print. But I don't think they give you any, they just give you sort of source material information. They don't tell you really what it's symbolic of or anything, or
so I've been looking at too. They're pretty good. So yeah, quite fancy that.
I love what they did with the cover of this. Actually, this is from the oh shoot, what's the name of it now? I have this book. I have 2 copies of this deck, and I don't even use them. But it kind of re-engaged me to want to use them when I saw it on the cover. I could get up and grab the deck, but I'm not wearing pants. I have to put something in front of the camera. I have to see. I just have a blanket over my lap.
Keep it clean, Robin.
Yeah.
Justin's just walked into the chat. He's just walked into you saying you don't have pants.
Who did? Oh, Justin.
Poor
I don't
Justin.
think there will be any great shock to Justin. Oh, it's that C something. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna go ahead and get it.
Okay, well, like edge your way. Aye, do that. That's fine. Honestly, guys, I think I must have found them under a rock or something.
Oh.
How are you, Justin? Anyway, I'm talking about you.
Bold as brass and pantsless back again. It's the Navigator's Tarot of the Mystic Sea. You ever heard of that? And I have 2. It's by Julia Turk. And I actually got 2 copies when it came out because I thought it was so pretty. But it has keywords on the cards, which I never liked. And so what I ended up doing, oh, this damn ring light. What I ended up doing was one copy, I trimmed all the borders and labeling off. and the other one I left alone. And as it turns out, the original one I have, I think, that I trimmed, which is beautiful, is sort of a matte or semi-gloss. And then the other one I got is like glossy. So I don't know why that is. I think it's two different publishers. Oh, this is actually the card that made me get this deck. I don't know if you are you familiar with this older channel called by Sacred Seed?
Yeah,
I don't know whatever happened to her. You know, I hope she's okay wherever she is, but
yeah.
She had a great channel and I really miss it. But she did a walkthrough of this a few years ago, and I was looking through her old walkthroughs and I saw this, and it's the Empress. And the Empress in this one, you probably can't, it won't focus probably, but in her hand, she's holding this little gold rattle, which is called a sistrum, which is actually, I believe it originated in Egypt. And it's basically a loop with these little wires, horizontal wires inside that you shake back and forth. And I've been sort of obsessed with them. And I also have a collection of rattles. So I don't know. I just fell in love with that image and ended up getting the deck sorely on that one symbol.
What that deck is, Robin? Sorry. What's that deck called? What's the name of the deck?
Navigator's Tarot of the Mystic Sea. And they ended up using one of the images from it for the cover for this book on tarot from Taschen. It's got a lot of oranges in it. So, I mean, that challenge about color decks, I forgot about this one, but I probably should have dragged it out for the orange deck. Now, why did we go there? Oh, the book.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not big on books. I did just get Benabel Wen's Holistic Tarot for my Kindle, and I've been kind of like going through that.
How do you find it?
I liked it at first, but now it's kind of down to one card at a time. And I thought it was going to be more in depth, and maybe further into the book it is. But at the moment, it seems very much like other books in terms of kind of one card at a time and, you know, a page or two on each card, and then they move on. And there are some charts and graphs and things involving planetary symbols and whatnot. And I'm not into the astrological aspect of tarot, so that doesn't really do much for me. But it's a nice reference thing. If you do get into that, you can refer back to those diagrams and charts. I also got, when Nancy sent me the Tarot Classic, she sent me the book that goes with it, and I didn't really want it particularly, but it came together. And I read it and I flew through it, actually. I was surprised. It was like a pleasurable read. And this one, particularly the first third or so of the book, is illustrated and has a lot of history on the development of tarot and different card systems through history and different cultures and societies and stuff. So I found that actually really fascinating. And I didn't think I would find the history aspect particularly appealing or entertaining, but I really liked it a lot.
That's good.
Are you a book reader when it comes to tarot kinds of stuff?
I try to be. I need to try and be better, to be honest with you, because I've been reading 78 Degrees for a good long time now. Like, I'm just a really slow reader, and I'm very slow at taking things in. My mind wanders. My mind tends to wander, so I'll read something and it'll make me think of something, and then my mind will go off on a complete tangent, a complete roller coaster. And don't get me wrong, it's good like it's good for me to let it go off on its roller coaster, because a lot of the times I'll be thinking and I'll come up with like some things that I wouldn't otherwise have thought of.
Yeah.
So it's a good process, but I just wish I was a bit quicker with it, you know. So yes, I do read, but not, you know, I'm not as big a reader as what lots of people are.
I had the same thing happen. I love Rachel's writing, and I don't have 78 degrees. I have the more modern one that's more or less the same thing, the Tarot Wisdom, yeah. And it took me months to get through that, and it shouldn't have, because it's not a hard read. I don't know why. It was like I'd do 3 or 4 pages at a time, and then I'd stop, you know, and it's like, and then it'd take me a week to get back to it. And it wasn't like I wasn't enjoying it. I have no idea why it took me so long to get through that book.
I think when you're reading stuff though, like when you're reading books on tarot, unless they're written like a story, you know, like it can be hard to just read definition after definition, you know. So yeah, I kind of get it. I get how it can be difficult to.
Well, I don't know if you remember, Simon introduced a book, I want to say about 4 months ago or so. It was a book, little hardcover book called The Little Book of Tarot. The Little Blue Book, I think. And I got it, I think I got it for the Kindle too. And I flew through that thing in a night or less, you know. I mean, it just like, I couldn't believe how fast I got through that. And it was such a fun read.
Yeah.
But I like to read them on my Kindle at night in bed with the lights out and just the light from the Kindle. And there's so few words on a page that they're easy page turners for me. The only problem is if they have a lot of illustrations or diagrams, then you have to kind of like spread them to zoom in and look at it. They're not really good for that. But I find physical books like this new big beautiful one kind of hard to read unless you're sitting at a table. You know, they weigh a lot and the binding is tight and they're awkward to like hold, you know, and maneuver, you know. So that's what the Kindles are great for, I think. Oh, Justin's recommending something for, oh wait, Forest of Souls. So now, Justin, is that a tarot book or is that one of her novels? Hi, Carrie. I don't know, because I know she's written some fictional books as well.
Yeah, Carrie and Justin as well were both making the point, when you're reading informative books, you do need to take your time to process it. I think that's what I was trying to say. Like when you're reading like kind of card definitions, and you know, when you're reading factual information, you do need to give yourself time to process it. Otherwise, you won't take it in. And for me, at least, it can become a bit boring after a while if I'm not really taking the proper time to, you know, take it in and think about it type thing.
Yeah, I actually spread the word on this one to Simon too, the Pithy Tarot by James Rickleffe, because you know how much I love his deck. I mean, I sing its praises all over the place. But and I didn't get into any of his other books, but this one I like because the way I taught myself tarot is with like old familiar quotes and one-liners, kind of like you get in a fortune cookie. And that's the way this book is. Like, he'll go a card at a time, but he'll come up with these little phrases that are just sort of like traditional things that relate to a card. Like, okay, for strength, it's not the power of your muscle, but the courage of your heart that counts. You know, it's just a simple little tossed off quote, but it's really food for thought when you're looking at the imagery in that card. And I particularly like this book to set the deck, the RWS, at one side and look at it one card at a time and go back and forth between the quotes and do I see them in the imagery. So for that, I really love this book.
That's good.
Give me
So
a card from the RWS. I want to see what he says in here.
Five of Pentacles.
Huh?
Five of Pentacles.
Okay. Finally found the Pentacles. They're in order. I'm just not real good with this. Oh boy, there's a lot of them here. All right, well, these won't all, these may not all resonate with you. Maybe none of them will resonate, but okay, Five of Pentacles. You can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. It's just a traditional old thing. Money can't buy you happiness, true, but poverty can buy you a whole lot of misery. Misfortunes of life can teach us how to appreciate the simple joys of life. Being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for is a much greater poverty than having nothing to eat. Clean up your environment in order to clean up your life. How many people in your life will stick with you for better or for worse? If you settle for crumbs, then crumbs are all you'll get. When times are tough, remember many blessings come in disguise. Going cheap now will cost you dearly later. Poverty is relative. I cried because I had no shoes. Then I met a man who had no feet. So, I mean, you know, these are just kind of random quotes that he's kind of collected into a little compendium to correspond with the cards. It's a little different. I like it.
That's good. Justin's mentioned tarot constellations by very clear.
I haven't read any Mary Greer yet. Have you?
I don't think so. I know that she's one of the kind of, she's a very influential person in
Yeah.
sphere. But no, I don't think I've got any of her books. Unless I've got one, I just don't know that it's by her.
I need her on my reading list, but I'm not sure where to start.
So have you got any decks that you're planning on working with, Robin?
Oh, wait. Carrie just asked. The book is Pithy Tarot by James Rickcliffe, and he's the author of the RWS 2.0 deck. Sorry, what was your question?
I was just saying, have you got any decks that you're planning on working with in the coming?
Well, I want to get more familiar with this Lonely Dreamer. I think I've gone through my spell of Marseille for a little while, and I'm still kind of pulling back the Conrad Stain ones, the two that I like. And it's weird because it's, you know, everybody goes on and on about the CS Tarot, and I'm very friendly with Conrad, and for some reason I'm in the minority there. I like it, but I'm not overwhelmed by it. But I love these Marseille decks that he did, and nobody's really talking much about them. They're starting to a little bit, Masha and Simon, but yeah, they're really incredible. So I've been working with those, and I've been working a little bit with the Lonely Dreamer. I want to work with more. I ordered Melissa Zupan did a walkthrough a few days ago of this 1909 restoration RWS tarot, which was apparently the actual first RWS tarot, and only 5 copies exist because the publisher or Waite, I'm not sure who, pulled it out of the market, and they reworked it, and then the 1910 one came out. But I thought, oh, I've always wanted something that's as close as possible to Pixie's original intent. And it looks like you can't get any closer than this because it was the first published one. So I ordered that. It was from a company in England. And it looks very much like the Centennial to me. They look a little bit aged, the cards, and antique-y kind of. It does have the roses and lilies back, which I've never been keen on, but you know, I'll live with that. But I prefer the crackle back, which is on the 1910, I believe. But yeah, so I'm anxious for that. Although Melissa complained about the finish on it because she said it's sort of semi gloss, but I'm cool with that. And also she said that she thought the cardstock was kind of thin. So we'll see. You know, I'm hoping that comes soon. I'm anxious for that. And I'm still waiting on a Marseille deck, the Isis Tarot from Japan. And that's taking a long time to get here. Mm-hmm. And then I also have the Danilov Tarot I got because I think Jen of Balanced Tarot showed that a week or two ago. And it's got amazingly beautiful sort of Russian painted images, very fairy tale like. I wasn't keen on the card back design, but the images are really good. So you have anything on order or coming, or what are you working with?
In terms of coming on order, the only thing that I'm planning on having coming in anything soon is the Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot. I pre-ordered that months ago.
Somebody just showed that today. It's out now, I guess. Nightmare Before Christmas, you said? Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody took a shot of it. It had arrived. So I don't know whether it was in the States or the UK or where, but somebody got it.
I didn't think it was out until the 15th or something, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, that should be coming in the next week or so. And yeah, that's all. As to decks that I'm planning on working with. Muriel.
Okay.
I've found a love for this, so I have. I found it a bit intimidating before, and just a bit too out there. And don't get me wrong, the book still is, but you know how you were talking about Elle from Sacred Seed? She's done an excellent, it's like 2 videos she's done, and it takes you through the ace to tens and all 4 suits.
Wait, who was that again?
Elle from Sacred Seed.
Oh, yes.
She's done 2 videos on the Marielle where she takes you through the kind of the ace through 10. And yeah, I'm connecting with it now. So I'm going to try and work with that a bit more. What else was I going to say there? Decks that I've got my eye on. So you're talking about Conrad. There's a version on his NPC store called The Naked and Cut. In fact, Justin, I think you did a comparison. If I'm not mistaken. That looks really, really nice. I've just always I love the idea of having a Rider-Waite without the titles.
Yeah.
The reason that I don't have one is because, or the reason that I've not modified my deck to have it that way is because obviously only some of the cards have titles on them. So I would need to be cutting bits off of cards, you know, I need to be cutting bits off the images. So
I like the idea too, and I actually have one. It's in my purgatory box because I shouldn't say, because you should never dog a deck, I guess, but it's the one by Real. I think it's called the Pam's Original Art Deck. And when I first saw it, I thought, oh man, this is going to be my holy grail. This is going to be my soul deck. Because I think you could get it 2 ways. And I got it with the crackle back, which I liked. and it has no labels and it's borderless. I thought, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
But there was something a little garish about the coloring that almost reminded me of like very saturated color Xeroxes or something. It just, the quality and the cardstock felt funny to me too. It looked like linen, but it didn't feel like linen. It just reminded me of like the backs of old cereal boxes or something. The printing quality just really, I don't know. I couldn't get into it, but I wanted to so badly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Robin, could you do me a favour? Could you mod me so as that I can share Justin's channel with Sophie?
Oh, how do I do that? Can you
I've got the YouTube chat open.
Type something in? Oh, do I have to go to the YouTube channel to do it?
Yeah,
Right.
so in the YouTube chat, if you kind of highlight over me, then there's 3 dots.
I can do it if I can find you. Type something in there. There you go.
Good, guys.
Wait a minute. Here we go.
Sorted.
Didn't do it yet.
There we are. That's me.
Got it?
Yep. So yeah, that's Justin's channel. So he's done basically a side by side of the normal CS Tarot and the naked and cut CS Tarot. And he's obviously got his interview with Rachel Pollack that he's just done this week.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, do you know, I woke up, I got myself up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch that. Because it was the morning after that he'd done the interview. So obviously Justin had done it at about 9 o'clock my time, I think, if I remember correctly. And then it had uploaded, for me, it was uploading overnight. So I got myself up at 5 o'clock so that I could sit for an hour and watch it. And then I obviously started work at 6:30. But it was so good. I was just sitting, you know, with my dressing gown on and my cup of tea and just watching Justin and Rachel Pollack. Like, what better morning could you actually have? How better could I have set myself up for the day?
I actually, Justin, I don't know how you'll feel about this, but I sent Rachel an email and I heard from her because I put feelers out to see if she would be open to receiving a copy of my my earlier deck, because I was really curious if she was willing just to have a look at it and give me any impressions, if she had any or not, you know, of what she thought of it, or if it, you know, just her insights or impressions. And she was, you know, very friendly and very open to the idea. So I actually was going to go mail it this morning. Then someone reminded me that it's Labor Day and the post offices are closed. So tomorrow morning, first thing on my chore list is to go to the post office and mail Rachel off a copy of my first deck. So I'm really curious to see, you know, what she thinks, because those, you know, the cards I'm sending are the dinky ones with no labels. But she won't have any trouble, you know, identifying them. And I'm just curious on, I think, I don't know whether you saw me post last week. I thought I probably shouldn't be talking and going on and on about my own deck, but I tell you, I'm really pushing, even with this new deck, for everybody to create their own deck. It is such a journey of self-discovery. And even on something as minimal as what I've been doing, I'm still finding new stuff. I noticed the other day I was looking at my lover's card and I saw a face in the card that I didn't see there before. It's like buried in the negative space, a part of the image, there was a face. And I thought, whoa, you know, it's funny when there aren't that many symbols there to begin with, that something new will jump out at you. And it just goes to show, when you consult the RWS or any other deck, every time you shuffle and you look at it with fresh eyes, you get a new perspective and certain things will jump off the card at you. You know, I'll look at a card I'm really familiar with and sometime some little symbol in the background I never thought of before just jumps to the foreground and you know, makes me think about it.
Yeah, no, I saw your post on was it the Hermit's Cave? You posted that with the
Yeah, yeah,
I know I can see it. Now that you found it out, it's pretty cool.
yeah.
What's the chat? So Carrie's wanting to hear if Rachel's got any thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'll be sure to pass word along, because I'm sure I'm hoping to have a little dialogue with her where we can bounce ideas back and forth, because I'm really curious about her process for creating her own deck. And also, you know what, anybody out there or who reads this later and wants to post in the comments, if you've read anything historical or informational about the Order of the Golden Dawn and their process of having their members create their own decks as part of their initiation process or whatever, I'd be fascinated to read any history or information on that, because I've not read very much about it. And in fact, I've not read much at all really about the Golden Dawn, other than the names of a few of the people that were involved in it.
We've got some questions. So just some questions about your new deck, Robin. So Justin's asking if it's available, and Jackie's asking where it is.
Oh, it's at Make Playing Cards. It is in the shop now, but I'm actually sort of trying to discourage people from buying it until the weekend, because I'll have a copy in my hands by then to make sure quality control that it's okay. Because I did the first one and put it in the shop, and I got it in the mail and it was too pixelated. I had to rework it. And so I don't want anybody to be disappointed in it. And at the same time, when you upload something to the shop there, it takes them a day or two to approve it for sale in the shop. And I'm so like itching to, you know, have it out there that I didn't want to wait. So I thought I'll put it up there because no one's going to know anyway until I make a big announcement. Of course, now I'm announcing it. But yeah, on the weekend, well, Justin says he hasn't seen it yet. He's glad it's a full deck. That's one of the other things I want to talk to Rachel about her thoughts on majors only decks. Because you and I have we've done readings where I've used my majors only, and it can't, you know, it worked well, you know, just with the majors. And so I'm a little bit curious as to people's thoughts or biases or whatever about majors only decks. Because apparently in Europe, they rely heavily on the majors in the Tarot de Marseille. Some don't even use the minors. So I don't know. I heard you shuffling. So I'm guessing you're itching to do some readings. I don't know if we have enough people in here to even ask questions, but I'm open to it.
I just like shuffling the deck.
I actually have an idea for you that I want to test on you.
Oh,
I want to experiment with you.
Guys, you didn't tell me about this before, so we'll see. You may witness me telling Robin to go F himself. We never know. No, I'm kidding on. I'm kidding on.
Tell me, just to make it easy on myself, I'm going to use the 2.0, but I could use any deck. Tell me, if you visualize yourself as a card in the deck, which card would you be?
Any card at all?
Any card at all in the deck.
It's between two.
We'll pick one. We can do 2 readings, but pick one first.
Page of Cups.
What? Page of Cups? Okay. Now, I think I saw somebody else do this, and you and me might even have discussed this before. But what they did was they went through the deck, They found that card that represented the person, and they pulled the card just before it and just after it and looked at those as the three, which I thought was really a cool idea. Well, you said Page of Cups, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's right near the beginning.
Oh, that's handy.
So the card, where's my little rat?
What's everybody else's significator card if you have one? Justin says that he's Justin's the hanged man. I mean hanged man.
All right, we'll look at that in a minute. I'll have to do a new shuffling for that. But so I will even let you see if you have any impressions on yourself in this reading. With you in the middle as the Page of Cups, the first card is the Magician, and the last one is the Seven of Swords. Does that do anything for you?
I like the Magician. The Magician's obviously very kind of, he's got an outgoing energy, draws people in. You know, everybody wants to see what the Magician's all about, what he's doing. And another thing that he does is he basically shows you how to use the tools that you've got. Do you know what I mean? So the story of the Magician for me is, you know, the Fool comes up to him with his satchel, not his satchel, his you know, his handkerchief and a stick thing, whatever that's called. And the Magician basically magically makes his 4 items, his sword, his pentacle, his cup, and his wand appear, and basically shows them that you've got everything that you need. So I really like that card, both from the perspective of is it attention, being the centre of the attention. I suppose that's ultimately what that is, isn't it? I'm not really an attention seeker, I don't think, but it is quite. I like people to be. I like to keep people interested. If I'm going to put myself out there, then I want to do it in a way that it draws people in and people are going to be kind of into it. I wouldn't like to think that I'm boring people or anything. And I also like the idea of helping people. I like to help people with their own stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I'd like to be a person where somebody comes to me and says, you know, I suppose it's tarot reading, isn't it? It's like, yeah, you know, I want to do this, or I've got this, and I don't really know, you know, how to proceed with it, and I like to help people like that. I suppose that's why I tutor maths, so I do. Yeah. Sorry, I went on and on and on about the Magician there. Seven of Swords is an interesting one because the Seven of Swords is kind of like, you know, you can take that in a couple of ways.
Yeah.
You can take that as almost sneaky, dodgy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's acting irresponsibly. So if you look at the Seven of Swords and the Deviant Moon Tarot, you'll see what I mean. Somebody's basically, it's like a circus knife swallower type thing, and dangling a knife from his foot that's above his face. So the seven, for me, the seven asks you to stop and think about what you're doing. Stop trying to do it in the same way over and over again. Try it. You need to, you know, think about your objective, but do it in a different way because the way that you're doing it isn't working for you. So that's interesting that those cards have come up.
Yeah, I had the same initial thought about the Seven of Swords. When I saw this, the first thing that came to my mind was Chris and his new channel. And I thought, okay, well, we all know that you're really talented and you have all the tools to do it. So that's the Magician. And there's a Page of Cups with a little surprise in the cup for all of us, which is really a nice surprise. And then I saw the guy with the swords and I thought, oh no, what is that sneaky, dodgy thing? But I don't think it's that at all. I think it's like you've taken something out of that tent and you've got like an armload full of things that you're presenting. So for me, in this particular reference, I don't see it as sneaky or smarmy or bad sort of thing. To me, it's sort of like very much like the fish in the cup. It's just sort of an armload full of surprises or a table load full of tools. There's a lot of things. Oh, and swords are ideas, aren't they? Or communication. So, I mean, you've got a lot of communications there that you're about to lay on us all, you know? So I think, I mean, that's the impression I had about this in terms of you at this stage in your life with, you know, the birthing of your channel, you know. So I think it works. And that thing about swords being thoughts hadn't really occurred to me until just now, sounding it out. And that works really well in terms of sharing and expressing ideas with other people, because that's kind of what you do when you do your readings, you know. It's great.
Thank you. That's a nice reading.
So what was the other card? You said there were two. What was the second one? Because I'm going to reshuffle them.
Strength.
Strength.
Strength. Actually, probably not fully upright. Strength, for me, I identify with some of the shadow aspects of it. So for me, I said earlier on when we were talking about the strength card and the Lonely Dreamer, it's about, you know, putting yourself out there and having the courage to be out there with yourself and be like, I don't care what anybody thinks of me, this is me, and take it or leave it type thing. I struggle with that sometimes. I suppose to a degree we all can, but so maybe some of the shadow aspects of the strength card.
Okay, interesting.
Some of the comments. So
we have. Oh, go ahead.
Carrie's the Emperor. Sorry, I'm just looking at the comments. So Carrie is the Emperor. Sophie identifies with the Hermit. Justin, I've been feeling lots of magician energy lately. It's transformed my life. Justin says, Robin, you and that card holder.
What's wrong with my card holder? It's better. It's much steadier and more even than holding three cards in my hands. I can't do it as well. And if I had maybe with my new iPhone, if I get the proper I don't have a proper table, but if I get a proper setup, maybe I can get better shots. Now this one, with strength in the middle, you've got the Knight of Swords before it and Justice after it. Again, we've got swords. So again, we've got thoughts. And there's sort of like leading the charge with ideas and weighing out thoughts decision-wise, and sort of having the strength, I suppose, to do both, to present those to people in a way that will be met with the proper, what's the word I'm looking for? The people will welcome them and not be offended or take it wrong or whatever. I'm not expressing that properly, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I actually see, right, so did you watch the video on Oya's Girls channel yesterday, the one with the panel?
I did. There's a lot to talk about there if we get into it, but go ahead.
To be honest, I don't really want to start getting into the whole thing, but what I will say is one of the positive things I've taken from it is it's made me really start thinking about the power that we have as consumers. Mm-hmm. So it's really, really easy to look at and you don't really need to just apply this to tarot. You can apply this to any product. But it's easy to look at like a product, and the range of different types of that product that's available on the market and say, oh, well, there might not be enough diversity in it or enough of this in it, but that's up to that's for the publishers, that's for whoever it is, to the people creating it, that's for them to deal with. Actually, everyone's got their own part to play. Do you know what I mean? Every single person, and us as consumers, we've got the most important part. And someone called Liz that was on the channel, that was on the panel, sorry. I don't know if you remember what she said, but she was talking about she drew on the example with the matte cardstock, and I thought, oh my God, that's so true. And borderless as well. And, think about matte and borderless. Like, if I go back to when I started tarot, borderless wasn't really a thing, I don't think. Matte cardstock, I had never even heard of it until maybe a few years ago, but now all of a sudden it's a thing, and gilding as well, you know.
Yeah.
All of these kind of cosmetic things that the consumer said that they want, and then lo and behold, all of these things start appearing. So we've got that power, so we need to try and kind of use that in a positive way. So that was a positive that I really, really took from that. And I'm seeing a lot of that in that spread that you've just pulled, Robin, because you've got your Knight of Swords, who is, you know, he's a warrior, and he uses his intellect, he uses his words, his communication to fight what he sees as, you know, the battle for the greater good. And then obviously you've got Justice. I don't even need to say anything about that. So yeah, that's what I see there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not going to. I don't really want to start getting into the nitty-gritty of the video, to be honest.
I like what you said about the sort of purchase power, and how our opinions shape. That can be to a detriment too, because I'm one of those people that I love to see a couple of decks with gilding. I don't want to see every single deck with gilding, which is kind of what's happening now. And then as to the matte, I'm, great, more power to you if you like matte decks. I'm not fond of matte decks. So if the majority moves this trend, it's going to actually remove some decks from me, because the crowd is going towards gilding and matte, So I'm just saying, I do think that we need all kinds of diversity. And the most positive thing that I saw come out of that conference was, and I very much agree with the idea that on publishing staffs, there needs to be more representation on staffs, and you need to have more diversity representing the products that they're putting out. But I had also seen in somebody else's chat, 2 different people with 2 very different opinions about a particular card in a deck. Now I'm going to get into sticky territory, but it was 2 black women, and it was a card in a deck, and one found it very offensive and the other didn't at all. So you're going to have a variety of opinions, even if you have diversity represented. Who among your group do you choose to represent you in terms of diversity, and what do they pick? And somebody touched on something I'd been afraid to say before now. A lot of decks with diversity, I question, is it diversity or is it tokenism? Because there are certain decks where it's like, okay, there's 3 cards in it with people of color or whatever, but who made that decision? It was a white person that chose that for this deck. Well, what authority did they have to make those choices and pick this particular person for that particular representation? And somebody in the conference put it very good. She said there was a deck she saw where someone was in a wheelchair was represented as the Chariot, and how reductive that is to do that. It's one thing to have someone in a wheelchair in a deck to be represented, but to sum them up, their existence up in terms of the wheels of the device that carries them is, I think, kind of insulting and limiting, So, I mean, this is a complicated issue.
See, to speak generally, right? I agree with what you said about tokenism. I think Elle, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but I'm constantly impressed by Elle, because Elle's, really young, even compared to me, but she's so wise beyond her years, and she constantly kind of gives me food for thought with all this stuff. So big up Elle. But Elle really kind of drove it home when she said there's a difference between appreciation and appropriation.
Yeah.
I think for me, what is it? We are all 7 billion or however many people there are in the world. All of us, we're all individuals, right? We're all going to be turned on and off by different things.
Yeah.
Okay, no two people in this world are going to be exactly the same with every single thing that they're ever going to experience in their life. Okay, we're all going to be offended by different things, and that's okay. That's what makes you individuals, and it's okay to be, for me to be offended by something and for you not to be, and vice versa. That's absolutely fine. I think what is important is that when people are representing different backgrounds, cultures, you name it. When you're trying to represent someone from a particular background, it's important that you engage with that community.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I right. This is quite a personal thing for me to talk about, right? And it's quite an unusual thing. This might come across as a bit like, why is that even a thing for him? So I've always envisioned being able to see a deck where the Ace of Cups is represented by a trans man. Get after having top surgery and getting his bandages off and seeing himself in the mirror for the first time. See just that, that renewed self of connection, that renewed sense of connection to yourself, or self-love, being able to love yourself. For me, that's the Ace of Cups. Now, and I really I feel quite, that's something that I really connect with. I'm a cis man, I'm not a trans person, but that is something that really means something for me and really touches me emotionally. Okay. So that's something that I personally would really like to see in a card. Now, if I was going to create a deck and I was going to make a card like that, I think it would be really, really, like, so vitally important for me to engage with the trans community and actually, talk to them, understand exactly, what, just understand their story and make sure that I'm not appropriating. Do you know what I mean? That I'm not just using it based on my impressions of it. It needs to be from the trans community's point of view if you're going to use that in a deck like that. And I think that's the same regardless whether you're, using a person of colour in your deck, whether you're using someone from a particular culture, a particular background. You might be depicting a scene of, someone who's been abused or being abused. Anything at all. I think it's so important that we engage with the actual people and don't just use that kind of thing because we want to use it. I think that's what makes the difference. So you were talking about two women of colour who were, one took offence to a card and one didn't. I don't know, you might be talking about the Ten of Swords from the Light Seers. I know that created some controversy. I think and I actually don't know whether Chris Ann took, whether she drew on the views of, women of colour. I don't even know that whether that was what she'd intended to depict. But I think that's what makes the difference. If the creator has engaged people from that culture and, she's taken into account their views, and being completely and utterly 100% respectful of that and created that card, then some people are going to be offended by it and some people are going to be are going to love it. That's fine, as long as you're doing the work that you need to do, that important work.
Yeah.
That's my view on it. So sorry, I went off on a wee bit.
No, it's good. I mean, I think these conversations are good to have, even if they're, can be a little awkward or difficult sometimes. But I mean, because people have different contexts for things too. Like, I don't really, other than what you and I do here, I don't read for other people. So I'm reading for myself. So this is a kind of a non-issue. And also I have a different approach too. It's like, I don't really feel like I need to see myself in the deck in order to read from a deck or be comfortable with it. And I have this notion of spirituality that, you know, our souls don't have race or gender to them. And so when I see a card, I see the crux of the archetype of that card, and I don't see it as having a race or a gender or a body type or an age. Now, in more modern contemporary decks, there's more representation of that, so it calls more attention to that. But in a way, for me, it almost gets away from the purity of what the original archetypes were, because now there's this need to feel like everybody has to be represented or see themselves in a deck. And my own deck, I had to laugh last night because, you know, the 2 decks I've done, none of my characters really are of a specific gender or race. I mean, they're just like these round little bald figures with glasses. And I saw myself in the mirror and I thought, oh, talk about seeing yourself in a deck. I wonder if I subconsciously drew myself in these images, you know, that this sort of balding, bespectacled person that would love to be as comfortable wearing dresses as wearing pants and have the whole world open to me in terms of the archetypes, you know. But you know, there are other decks as well that sort of avoid the whole issue, like animal decks or pip decks. You know, you want to imagine yourself in a deck where you don't feel represented in a deck of you know, a certain kind of cards. You could read with a deck of playing cards, or you know, there are a lot of options and alternatives. I'm just not clear on I guess I don't really have a handle on the contemporary approach to deck creation and telling different stories in the images. I guess I'm a little bit more of a traditionalist in terms of the symbolic meanings of the cards rather than adding new modern layers on top in terms of the stories and the points
but
of
it's not
view.
adding new modern layers, I don't think. So the tarot is all about the human experience. That's what it's intended to be. You know, it's the journey to spiritual enlightenment, and you know, the minors are the kind of mundane things. But the crucial thing is it's the human experience. You know, so in my view, it should represent the you know, the world that we live in. I think that is pretty important, especially in this day and age. Now, I'm not saying that that someone of a particular culture can't create a deck that represents that culture. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I think in this day and age, especially with everything that's happening right now, I think an attempt to be diverse in decks would never go amiss. Do you know what I mean? It would always be welcome, and you know, I think it kind of helps towards this objective that we're all trying to achieve. And you said, look, when you were talking about your own decks there, you said something crucial that it doesn't. They're not of a particular race. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they're all one race, skin color, or whatever it is. They're not. They're completely devoid of it. And for that reason, it includes everyone. Do you know what I mean? It kind of excludes everyone and includes everyone at the same time, because it's kind of like Shadowlands. Shadowlands, it's all kind of wee monsters, and I think Monstaro is the same.
Yeah.
It excludes everyone and includes everyone at the same time, you know. And I think the same could probably be said.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing, or
I think it's that. No, that's what I'm saying. I think it's a good thing, because you know, because of that, anyone can kind of anyone can see themselves in the cards. Do you know what I mean? Because they don't feel they don't feel singly excluded by them. So I think that's the difference. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel as though
I was going to point. I was going to mention when you said something about not adding layers on or changing the experience. Let's just take for an example the Fool. Okay, we know what we're used to seeing in the Fool. Now let's replace the Fool with a heavy set woman, or a black man, or a youth in a wheelchair, or an old man on crutches, or I mean, I don't know. There's, so many types in the world, but replace them. Now, does it really change the message of the Fool, or does it add some element or twist on the original message by adding that new persona to the character?
I can only speak for myself in that regard. I can't speak for how everyone's going to take that. That's an individual thing. Some people that might change it for them. Some people it wouldn't. For me personally, I don't think it would, and I don't think it's about honing in on specific cards. I think it's about the deck as a whole. Do you know what I mean? I think that's where it becomes important to be diverse. I think it's, if you're looking at that deck as a whole, then. But anyway, to be honest, I didn't really want to get too deep into all of this because I don't really feel as though I'm much of an authority on it. So,
yeah.
Well,
and Simon pointed something out too. He was saying he only feels qualified to represent whatever minority he feels he is part of, which makes, sense to me. When I looked at the conference last night and they said, oh, it's nice that we've got this wide, diverse array of people here. And I thought of myself and I thought, well, they don't have any old white men there, on that panel. But those are usually the ones that they're all sort of like rebelling against, except I'm an old white gay man, but still, So when you talk about diversity, you can't always represent everybody, But I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that could be talked about, but I think we probably touched on enough of it here, Yeah.
Enough for a tea party. Yeah.
Did you see anything in the chat you wanted to address, or do we want to go back and pull any of those other triple card? Does anybody want to do a 3-card thing with their card in the middle?
So who did we actually get? I'll need to scroll back up now. I know that Justin said he sees himself as the Hanged Man. So Justin, let us know if you want one of us or both of us to.
Yeah, he's still here.
Yeah, he's chatting.
Do you want to maybe we both do this? Do you do a deck and I do a deck with the 3 for Justin? Maybe.
Can do, yeah.
What was his card again?
Hi, name. Hi to name. Justin,
name.
The Hanged Man. But hang on, let's wait and see if he wants us to do it first, because I don't want to start spying on people. Don't want to start reading for people without permission.
I'm just shuffling. Oh, that's another thing I was going to bring up. It's a whole different subject.
Yeah.
I was shuffling today and thinking about randomness, and I was going to ask you how you feel. Do you feel there is such a thing as randomness? Or do you have any opinions or thoughts on the nature of random when it comes to things like shuffling cards or knowing when to stop or pulling a card?
All in all, to be honest with you.
What?
I'm not sure. I don't know how I feel about that. What's your thoughts on it?
I have a hard time with it because I never quite know. When I first started out, I was so much more serious about it. I'd shuffle and shuffle and shuffle until I felt somewhere within me, it felt just perfect to stop. Now I just kind of I'm very lackadaisical about it, and I don't even seem to care very much where I stop. I think it was because of me asking Kelly of Truth and Story about this, and she had a comment that was an eye-opener for me that said that every single card in the deck has something to say about the subject at hand, and that was like, oh, then there's no real wrong card in the deck. You can pull them right off the top. There's no, need to even shuffle. It's just, what elements come out of that card and where your mind's at the moment to pick up on those symbols.
Yeah.
We're not hearing from Justin, so I guess he isn't into that.
So I think Justin said he was the Hanged Man. Carrie said she was the Emperor. Sophie said that she was the Hermit. I don't know if anybody else replied about what their card was, but if anybody wants us to use this kind of reading technique, it's almost like Lenormand, isn't it? Where you go through and you find the significator and then you read the cards on either side. So if anybody's interested, so Justin, I can see your chats, but we're asking, would you be okay if we did that a reading like this for you? Find the Hanged Man and then read the two cards on either side, or would you prefer we don't?
While we're waiting on him to decide on that, why don't we do me?
Right, okay. So what's your significant, Robin? And I'll read for you.
I think I mentioned it before, the Three of Wands. I'm the Three of Wands.
Right, okay. So I'll go through my deck and find the Three of Wands, and then it's the ones on either side. Oh, there we go. That's very, very interesting. Robin, of all the cards that I could have pulled for you, what do you think that the cards are?
Wait, hold on. I want to get mine first just to have them at hand.
Oh, you did it as well?
Yeah. Way down here. Okay, got them. Go ahead.
Right. I've got the Magician, then the Three of Wands, and Strength.
Oh, interesting.
So they're all cards that we've already talked about.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've got a question in mind for these cards, Robin, or if this is just intended to be general, but I kind of feel as though I've already spoke about these cards. So the Magician is that very kind of active energy, almost the counterpart to the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is passive and doesn't really say much. The Magician, on the other hand, is very outgoing, draws people in. People are interested in what the Magician's got to say and got to do, and got to show them. And he can kind of show them how to do things with their own tools. So a Magician experience, for example, for me would be if you're just learning an instrument, right? If you just buy a new guitar, and that way when you first get an instrument and then you think, I'm going to create amazing music with this, and then you start playing it and you can't play it for shit, and you're like, oh, this guitar's rubbish. And then your guitar teacher comes in and plays amazingly on your guitar. That's a Magician experience, because that's the Magician showing you've got all the tools you need. You just need to hone your practice. Three of Wands in the middle, I mean, it's just significator, isn't it? So I don't really need to define that for you, but just for me, Three of Wands is, it's starting to act on your passions, whatever it is, something that's giving you purpose. I think for now that, I'm presuming here, Robin, but I would presume that that's creation of your kind of deck, because that I know that's kind of been on your mind a lot lately. But it's like kind of taking action on that thing that makes you feel that purpose that you're passionate about, that lights that fire in your belly. And then the Strength card is, it's kind of letting yourself loose. It's kind of that, let yourself shine. Don't be ashamed. The things that you previously have perhaps hidden, don't hide them anymore. Another thing? Sorry, I'm blah blah blah.
No, it's good.
But I don't know if you've. So you said, I don't think I said you think. I think you said you haven't read 78 Degrees of Wisdom.
Yeah, I did.
I think one of the things that Rachel was talking about in our interview with Justin is the kind of 3 rows of 7, right?
Oh yeah.
And the Magician and the Strength card are at the beginning of the first and second rows. So it gets me to thinking, what are the similarities between the two? you know, and they are quite, you know, they do have a connection, you know. The magician is, it's, you know, someone's like kind of showing you the tools that you've got and showing you that they can be used. And the strength card is when you start to think, right, you know, I'm going to do this. You know, it's when you start to let yourself shine. It's when you start to use those tools. All right, and the key in the middle there is that Three of Wands. You know, it's action. You know, the key for you to get from the magician to the strength is action. You know, take action. Don't sit and kind of mull over how you're going to do it and have bullet point lists and mind maps, and you know that has its place. Don't get me wrong, but the key for you is action. Act on it, you know, and don't have yourself forever in this phase of planning. Actually act on your passions, and that's how you get to, from someone showing you that, you know, you've got potential, to this strength card where you let that potential, you do something with that potential.
Wait, did you say you read the Three of Wands as action, or because I see it more as holding back from action, which is my problem.
Right.
I always see the Three of Wands, myself as the Three of Wands, as standing at the doorway and afraid to take the step beyond to the next step through the doorway. So it's like I've got all these ideas and these plans and things, but my insecurities or whatever often keep me from moving ahead, or make me reluctant to follow through or go the next step or take that adventurous leap or whatever it is to get to the next place.
So Robin, I think of each tarot card, I don't think of it as a snapshot in time. I think of a tarot card as its own mini story. So what you've described as the start of the Three of Wands, it's like kind of the end of the Two of Wands and the start of the Three, right? So for me, I think of things very kind of numerologically and elementally, hence the name elemental cartomancy. Ace is the potential, you know. There's a spark, there's a seed. You kind of cotton on to the fact that you have the potential to do something. All right, but you need to work at it. It's just the potential. It's not the fully fledged thing. It's just the potential for it. The Two is where it's almost like a card of development and planning, and it's a kind of very mental process. I would always say with the Ace and the Two, there's very little to no action. Thank you. There's very little to no action happening in the Ace and the Two. And the Three is when you start to act on it. Okay, the Three is when you finish, you know, you finalise that process of the Two. It's when you say, right, I've done all the planning that I'm going to do. It's time to actually make shit real. It's time to start going with this. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, what you've described is, to me, is the start of the Three process, but there's that whole journey before you're actually in the Four, before you've got that sense of stability and achievement, you know, and that's all the Three. So it's not just, so maybe that's a good card for you, because you need to work on the process of this card. You know, you're at that starting phase where you're like, you know, you feel yourself holding back, but that's a process that you need to work on. You need to work on actually taking that action, actually putting yourself out there.
Yeah. Well, the card depicted, the card depicted for me, it's someone standing there. They're not really moving forward, and they're looking over a valley and ocean where there are ships in the distance moving. So it's kind of like at that crossroads, or at that place of deciding what's my next step. You know, so it's like, yeah, the planning's already done, but it's kind of like you still have to put 1 foot ahead of you in order to take that step beyond those poles that are creating a certain stability for you right there, you know. And once you do, and then you develop whatever it is you're doing, then you have cause for celebration in the Four. But I'm curious as to what you make of this trio here, because I can kind of see the Knight of Pentacles here as like arriving or delivering something of some degree of value, and, you know, myself kind of moving forward with whatever it is I'm doing. I'm not real clear on the Lovers in this final thing, whether it has maybe to do with choices and some kind of a partnership, but I'm not clear how that relates unless it has to do with, I don't know, a partnership with the community or with my relationship with working things out, or I don't quite know how to read that. What do you think about that Lover's card?
Okay, so Robin, you know how you're saying that you, when we were talking about the three there, you were saying you kind of sometimes have a problem with holding back. Would you describe yourself as someone who plans and maybe is sometimes guilty of over planning things?
Possibly, yeah.
Right, okay. So for me, your Knight of Pentacles there, your Knight of Pentacles is kind of slow and steady wins the race. He acts with purpose. He doesn't act rashly at all. That's the last thing the Knight of Pentacles would do. He's maybe a wee bit guilty of not being spontaneous enough. And the Lovers, for me, it's about stepping outside of what's expected of you, about stepping outside your comfort zone. You know, if you think about the Fool's journey, the Fool goes through the first 5 major arcana, and like the Empress, the Emperor, and the Hierophant is like the mother, the father, and the teacher. That's where the Fool's learning basically what his family, what society, what his community expect of him. Okay, it's where he learns the rules. It's where he basically gets a copy of the rule book and says, this is what we expect of you. This is what you have to do. You know, he's learning. The Lovers is when he steps outside that. The Lovers is where he reaches adolescence. He takes a lover for the first time. And for a lot of us, when we do that, when we're growing up and when we do that, that represents the first time we do something that's, that's outside what our parents, our society, our community expects of us. Okay, so the Lovers for me is, it's about connection with other people and it's about love and all that kind of thing. But more importantly, it's about stepping outside those bounds that society and that your community, that your family, whatever. It's about stepping outside. In this particular case, Robin, I would say that step outside the bounds that you've created for yourself. Mm-hmm. So you're saying that you sometimes have an issue with over planning things. You like everything to be planned out and planned out and planned out. The Lovers for me is telling you, and kind of the Knight as well, you're going to have to be spontaneous. Do you know what I mean? You're going to have to deal with having to proceed and not stick to everything as you've planned it out. You're never going to be able to foresee every possible eventuality. So the Lovers for me is saying get comfortable with that and get comfortable with the idea of perhaps going off piste. Do something a wee bit different from what you had planned. So that's how I would read those three.
All right. You give me something to think about there. Okay. I think Neem has just said that we're keeping Justin in suspension as the Hanged Man. He did say he's open to it, so we can go with it now.
Yeah. Sorry, Justin. You got a wee bit rambly there. Well, I got a wee bit rambly, let's be fair. Let's not blame Robin for that. That was
I'm just as guilty.
Aye, we know, Columbo.
Oh, and one more thing.
I'm throwing cards everywhere. Right, the Hanged Man.
Interesting. Very interesting.
You can go, Robin, because I'm still trying to find.
Is Justice a man or a woman, or do we know or do we care? I always thought it was a woman.
It's Lady Justice, yeah, but I don't know. Oh, here we go.
What in my drawing, I have the Queen of Cups, the Hangman, and Justice. So Justin is flanked on either side by the ladies. And let me think about this. The Queen of Cups and Justice. Keeping a lid on his feelings, weighing things out. Boy, that's as abbreviated as it gets. I'm not sure where to go from there. But if you have thoughts you want to pop in, you go, and I'll think about it a little more.
When you say Justin's flanked on either side by the ladies, that made me laugh.
Also, it's funny, Justice and Justin. His name comes right out of Justice.
Hen's popped in. Hi, Hen. How are you? Right. So my feelings on your that's so that's so interesting. You've got the Queen of Cups, right? Now, if there's another card in the deck that's like the Queen of Cups, what would you say it would be? Would you?
Would it be I don't know, another queen? I don't know.
No, High Priestess. For me, like
the
High Priestess and the Queen of Cups are like very, very similar, yeah. So these are the three that I've got. Anyway, sorry. So you've got the Queen of Cups, and Justice on the other side. So if I can read both the Queen of Cups and the High Priestess together, because I feel as though they're saying the same thing in this instance. And another thing as well, right now, I know that I was just talking about the 3 rows of 7, but see if you look at it as 2 rows of 10, which I sometimes do, then the High Priestess and the Hanged Man are linked. So the High Priestess is all about, that kind of inner knowledge. It's a very kind of passive energy. And the Queen of Cups she's the water of water. She's all about, going deep within, that connection to your unconscious or subconscious. I think unconscious is probably the right word to use. Connecting to that divine knowledge that we all have, and and using it. And the Hanged Man, I think I've told that story before. The Hanged Man, I think it comes from what the holy people in the old days would do. They would actually suspend themselves upside down. They would make all the blood rush to their head, and that kind of pushing their body to the limit in that way gave them it enlightened them. It made them see things in a whole new way, and that's why the Hanged Man is all about a new perspective. But it's also about pushing your body to the limit. To have that different perspective, that different experience. It's like a kind of vision quest type thing, how people kind of take concoctions and they go on vision quests. People, another thing is like people will take, mind altering drugs, and then go on have out of body experiences, they'll astral project, they'll just have these experiences. It's all, for me, it's all Hanged Man energy. So it's all, again, it's all about going within and connecting yourself to that divine knowledge, that unconscious. So you've got Justice in the 3rd position, and I've got the 9 of Pentacles. So 9 of Pentacles, it's coming to the end of that Pentacles energy. So Pentacles, for me, reading this deck, it's about the things in our life. It's the things in our life that keep us grounded. It's the things that make us safe, secure. So things like your health, things like your money, your house, food on the table, all of that kind of thing. All of these material things that we have in our life that give us that feeling of groundedness, of safety, of security. The 9 is obviously coming to the, it's full achievement. It's that energy is very high. The 9 of Pentacles lady, and this particular deck, she's quite affluent. She's well off. She lives in a very kind of comfortable life. So we're seeing all these kind of things in that in this card. The reason that I say in this deck, how I read it in this deck, is because different systems and different tarot decks will define the Pentacles quite differently, and I'm learning this as I'm learning more about the Marielle. In the Marielle, let's see if I can kind of do this justice. In the Marielle, the Pentacles, it's about bringing the other three elements together. So it is to, conquer your own ego and build your energetic self and connect to your unconscious and your, make those emotional connections and stuff. It's about bringing all of that together to bring yourself the safety and security. And as you journey through the Pentacles, you realise that it's not actually about tangible material things. It's not actually about being rich, it's like kind of homes where the heart is lesson. And as you journey through the Pentacles, you learn that lesson. So it's all connecting back to this very kind of esoteric idea that we get with the Queen of Cups and the High Priestess, and the Hanged Man as well. So justice, you've got justice in the third position there. That's quite an interesting one. Justice for me has always been about, a lot of people have trouble with this card and with this concept because of the trouble that we have with the particular justice systems that we find ourselves in right now. But for me, this is about divine justice, it's about Lady Justice. It's the concept of overall justice, and having this overall system that everyone signs up to. Everyone knows, what's expected of them. Everyone knows what the consequences are if they deviate from that. That's the idea of the law. That's the idea of contracts. So you can see lots and lots of different things in the justice card, just because of the kind of general idea that it represents. That was a really kind of random and roundabout way that I've just spoke about those cards, and I'm pretty conscious that I haven't really connected them together very well.
Okay, Justin made a couple comments in the chat about what you said, I guess, or what he thinks about the cards.
So let me go back through. So, well, we're young. Okay, just you pipe down, young man, wind your neck in. Thank you very much. Justice is another one of my cards. Justice for me is about being true to myself, but also strong logic. Queen of Cups is emotional sensitivity. Agree about the Hanged Man. You mentioned some other things that I really did on. Oh, that's good then. So again, I'm conscious that I kind of rambled there. So apologies for that. Have you got any more thoughts to share on that, Robin?
I'm not sure I do. I agree. I think Justin's a very emotionally sensitive person. So the Queen of Cups with the covered cup is a very interesting card for me. And the Justice card, raising the sword and also balancing two things, with the Hangman in suspense in between those elements of emotionality and decision making and weighing things out and sort of logic and action. I don't know. There's a kind of a balancing act going on there, and I sometimes feel like maybe he struggles a bit between those things. He's got a little bit of a struggle, but that's
like all of us, I'm sure.
Yeah. Do we want to? Is there anybody else that wants to?
Yeah. Does anybody else want to?
Oh, Justin says I cheated because I know him too well. It's true. It's true. I'm curious about Signs to Soul Jen, although I think there were some other people that came in earlier, but I would love to do a little mini portrait of Jen and see what the cards say. I don't know if she'd be open to it or not.
Not to put you on the spot or anything, Jen. Feel free to say no, you would rather not.
Jen, do you know what we're doing? And you'll be okay if we use you as a guinea pig? What we're doing is you pick a card in the deck that you feel represents you, and then we shuffle and we pull out that card, the one before it and the one after it, and look at the relationship between the three. Maybe she's not still here.
Actually, maybe I'll just be popping in to say hi.
Oh, she's open to it. Yep, sure.
What would you say is your card that signifies you, Jen? You know, what card you identify with, or if you have a significator card. What's your card? And we'll...
She has no idea what we're doing, but go for it. Well, we need, Jen, we need you to pick a card that you feel you identify most with in the whole deck. Like it's sort of like a self-portrait card. Which card do you feel maybe at this place in time, or maybe all the time you feel like this card is the epitome of you? What card would that be?
The Eight of Cups.
Oh, she said that?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Interesting. It's always interesting. So, you want to go first or shall I?
You can go first if you want.
So I have the Seven of Pentacles, the Eight of Cups, and Judgment. Now here again, there's a case where I don't know Jen very well, but I know a little bit about her, which may feed too much into my interpretation. I'm seeing the Judgment because I believe she's involved in therapy or social work or something where she talks to clients. And I always think, you know, this is making my own judgment on me and how I perceive of therapists or social workers, that they are sort of sitting in judgment, even though they claim not to be. They're taking in a lot of information and considering things and arriving at certain outcomes, which in a way for me is a judgment. It's curious to me that she picked the Eight of Cups. That's for me the walking away card. And then that first one is the, oops, wrong side. The Seven of Pentacles, which is sort of something to build a dream on, building on something, then walking away from it, and then a judgment. To think about that a little bit. It's funny that I identify her more with the Judgment than I did with the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is more of an action card for me, and there's something going on there that I'm not privy to. Whether she's walking away from a part of her life, an element of her life, an element of her situation, something she's turning her back on. There's kind of a nurturing and then a completion and a departure, and then a bit of a reflection in the Judgment too. So it's kind of like building on something, stepping away from it, and then reflecting back on it. That might be a way to look at these three. I'm going to pause there and let you jump in.
It's interesting you were talking about how you perceive, psychologists and how you relate that to the judgment card, because for me the judgment card is all, I don't really see it so much as other people's judgment. I see it a lot as your own judgments of yourself and being able to move on past them. So for me, when the judgment card comes up, what it's saying is that there's things, there's experiences that you have, there's aspects that you struggle with. There's shadow. You have shadow in your life that you struggle with, and you find it really hard to let go of. And judgment is when you finally, ascend. I've frozen. Oh no, I'm fine. Judgment is when you finally kind of transcend that. It's when you finally are able to move on past that. Whether it's dealing with your experiences, and this is where I link in with the whole idea of a psychologist or a therapist or whatever. It's, to me, the goal of the job of a psychologist or a therapist, as you would call it, is to help other people through that judgment phase.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, in order to achieve that goal of judgment, which is to move on past all of the things that you just can't forgive yourself for, or that you're ashamed of, or whatever it is, and whatever the reason is that you're holding on to these things and you can't move past them, in today's world, if you think about, if you put that into a practical example here and now today, a therapist is an example of a type of person who will help someone move, make that step. So it's interesting that you kind of made correlation between what Jen's profession to be and that judgment card, and I did as well, but in a kind of slightly different way, I guess. The cards that I've pulled are the Page of Pence, the Eight of Cups, and Five of Pentacles.
Two Pentacles cards.
Yeah. So very kind of practical cards, that I've pulled. Just drawing on, so you've got judgment, which I was just saying to me is about addressing things that have happened. It's about addressing things that you've held on to for so long. And then I've kind of drawn it in parallel with this Five of Pentacles card. Five of Pentacles is obviously about going through a process like that, where you feel insecure. It's about instability in your material life. But for me, the key to getting from, to moving through that instability, to conquering that instability, it's about realizing that there is an opportunity there. So here you can see the key to the door. All right, the key's there. The person just needs to kind of raise their head and see it. And the traditional, the RWS deck, it's the window's there, the window of opportunity is there. You can see the light shining. The people might take different influences from that. People might see that as the church shut people out and stuff like that. But I kind of tend to see the opportunity. I really like the. I think I spoke to you about this before, Robin. I really like the Shadowlands depiction of the Five of Pentacles, because you're seeing this kind of, you're looking at it from the point of view of there's like this kind of forest monster type thing, and you can see the people off in the distance kind of camping, and you can see he's longing to be part of it. And you can kind of, it almost looks in the distance as though the people down there want to kind of reach out to him as well. What are you laughing at?
I'm sorry, I just saw something in the chat. Oh. Justin had a typo and typed Pentacles as pesticides. So the Eight of Pesticides. Which is a whole different read. But sorry, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So yeah, that was what I was saying. You know, I'm rambling again. I'm really sorry. I know that I'm taking time here, but yeah, the Five of Pentacles again. Like I said before, I don't look at a card as a snapshot. I see it as a journey from one place to another. So it's about overcoming these challenges and getting yourself back to that position of harmony. You know, the Six is all about coming through challenges and coming out victorious. You know, finding harmony in that particular shadow, that particular challenge. And then we've got the page there. Page is like in a very new energy. It's starting something new. It's about, to me, it's something very practical. The earth of earth. The Page of Pentacles is the page is earth and the Pentacles is earth. So the Page of Pentacles is really interested in working with our hands and creating things, building things, being creative. The Page of Pentacles isn't so much about how the whole reason behind things. That's not Page of Pentacles. That's more Page of Swords energy. Page of Pentacles just wants to be able to turn on the switch and know that the light goes on. It doesn't care about the electrons and all of the mechanics that are in between it. So the Page of Pentacles, a very kind of creative person, and he'll be kind of very interested in the outcome of something, so he'll want to know that what he's doing has purpose. But what else was I going to say? I kind of lost my train of thought there. And the Page of Pentacles, if he's doing something, then there will be something in it for the Page of Pentacles. Okay. So again, very disjointed reading. I even read that backwards. So if I was going to read that forwards, just as a one-liner, then Page of Pentacles, so starting something new. Eight of Cups is almost that kind of, right, okay, well, it's about learning to recognise when something isn't working for you and being stable enough in yourself, emotionally stable enough to be able to walk away from that and say, right, draw a line, basically kind of cut your losses and say, right, I recognise and I acknowledge that this isn't going where I wanted it to go. It's not doing for me what I thought it was going to, and being able to move past that. And that five is like, doing that, it's always going to bring you those feelings of worry. It's always going to bring you that feeling of instability, of insecurity. But like I say, the key is there. The key to the door is there. The six is on the horizon. It's just about kind of doing what you need to do to deal with that shadow. And I mean, for me, that's what Jen does in her profession as I think a psychologist, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a process that you help others through, Jen. And that's the kind of that's what I drew between the Judgment card and the Five of Pence card. But if these cards are coming up for you, then maybe that's something for you to think about.
She's having second thoughts as to whether she wants to continue as a psychologist. So that's interesting.
Okay. I
tell you, it's not to be glib about it, but I can't wait to see the deck that Justin designs. If his pentacles are pesticides, I wonder what he's going to pick for the other three suits. I'll be curious to see. But
you're
listen,
never going to live it down, Justin, mate. You're never going to hear the end of it now.
Justin and the Eight of Pesticides. It sounds like a novel or something. Listen, this is terrible. I didn't realize I've kept you here so long. It's been almost 2.5 hours already. And I'm tempted, in case we left anybody else out that wanted us to do this, if you have a pressing need for it, please pop in the chat. Otherwise, I think we should put a can on this and call it a night, because usually we go an hour and a half to 2 hours. I had no idea we were rounding up on 2.5 hours. I don't know where the time went.
Time flies when you're having fun, Robin.
Yeah, we always seem to have a good time, and even if it's just a smattering of people in the chat room, it's sort of like the smaller the crowd, the nicer the party, you know. So, good chat, guys, says Justin. That was good, says Neem. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, are you?
It's feeling like, I mean, don't worry about me, Robin. I'm not actually working tomorrow. Like I say, I'm off on annual leave just now, so I don't need to be up early for anything. So it's only just turning midnight, so that's fine.
Well, I don't know how other people are. I'm getting a little bit antsy myself and feeling like it's time to have a little dinner. But
oh yeah, right.
So if there, somebody just popped in, Michael Dan Mosley. I don't know who that is. Where's your shop? Oh, I have my decks at makeplayingcards.com. And I think it's just, I don't know, it might be under Toadstool Tarot, or it might just be under Open Face Tarot. I can't remember how it's designated in there. It might be under Robin Crutchfield. I can't remember. You might have to just scroll through. At some point,
maybe find a link, Robin, and post it in the description. That's for
well,
people.
I won't do it in the chat because maybe I'll do it underneath in the comments.
In the comments of the video, just later on at your leisure, you can find it and maybe put a link to it in the comments, so that anyone who's here that does want to see.
I definitely will put a link when I do a walkthrough at the end of the week and the new deck arrives. If I do before then, it'll be on my Facebook page. I don't have a great following of tarot people on my Facebook page. I think it's because I guess I haven't really reached out or encouraged it, and I don't have a Toadstool Tarot Facebook page, which maybe I need a second page. I don't know. But I always feel reluctant to post too much on Simon's page, even though that's where everybody congregates. So I don't know. I'll work it out. Sure. So, Justin says I'm the 4th page in on the Marketplace Creators. Well, that's interesting. All right. So, oh my God, it's 7:01 here. So we went on at 4:30, 5:36.
7:01.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm looking at the time that we've been on, and I'm thinking if it's 1/2 something here, how can it be 01 there? But it's not. It's 2 minutes past 12.
It's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get a little worried about Lucian and Dave, though. They've been real quiet the last several weeks, and I know Lucian's working.
Dave's away working.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll make up for it when he comes back. All right. Anything else? Any closing thoughts? Nobody else.
I just want to say thanks to everyone who humoured us there and let us, let us pull some cards on them. You weren't coming in here deliberately to get a reading, so it was good of you to humour us and let us do that. So thank you. That was really interesting for me. I'll speak for myself.
I sort of like this 3-card play. Maybe we can do that again in the future. If people aren't, coming up with questions, we could do these little mini portraits. It's been sort of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course, it will change every time. Well, maybe the center card won't change, but the other ones will.
I think it depends on what if you have one significator that you tend to use, then then you would be using the same center, but maybe you could pick a particular card depending on what's going on in your life,
Yeah, so maybe I'll feel less like a 3 of Wands and more like some other card on that particular day. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just rambling. I wasn't actually saying anything coherent, so you're fine.
Thank you to everybody who stopped in the chat room, and it's been fun having you here, and it's always fun spending time with Chris, and I'm excited to see what he's got coming on his channel. So the more the merrier. All right, see you guys all. We'll see you in 2 weeks, I hope, I think, probably. Yeah. Okay, Bye, everybody.
See you later. Bye.